Good morning from Portknockie, again in Moray in Scotland. So I've just left the house and I thought this morning we were going to have a walk around the village. So down to the harbour, Fiddle Rock, etc. It's a beautiful day again. So we're starting, just left the house, a couple of minutes away. I'm going to go down and show you the fisherman's memorial for all those who are lost at sea. And we can have a good panoramic view of the place. So I'm just near Patrol House now, which is on the corner of the harbour and the sea. You can see the sea behind me, and this is where I am. So this is the road down to the harbour, which we'll go down to in a minute. Then we'll walk to Fiddle Rock and we'll have a look at where the old Pictish fort was, which was 1,000 years old. The Picts were a tribe that lived up in the north of Scotland, and one of the main forts on, I think it was called Green Castle, was built here in Portknockie. So this is the memorial dedicated by the people of Portknockie to all the fishermen who've lost their lives at sea. Portknockie itself, the harbour there, was quite a large fishing port. There was over 100 boats operating from here, and over the far side there you can see where those getting ready to go canoeing was actually a shipyard, and a lot of boats, fishing boats, were built here in the 17 and 1800s, and it was a fishing port really until sort of I think the 1920s, 1930s. Now if you look, you can see there's day fishing boats, again going for lobster, crab, out in the Moray Firth. And the harbour, I think, was built, this harbour was built in 1890, I think it was. I'll have to confirm that, but I think it was 1890. So it's a poignant remembrance to all the fishermen who were lost, and there's a lot of them. And I've heard stories of sort of 6 or 7 members of a family that were lost at sea on the same fishing vessel. So that's the road at the top of the harbour. So we'll make our way down the hill. It's quite chilly this morning. The sun's out, but there's as usual, unpredictable weather on the horizon. So I guess the air temperature is about 18 degrees, what's that, 63, 64 Fahrenheit, but with the wind it makes it a bit cooler. I was looking out the window this morning, I saw a kestrel just over here, hovering in the sky. There's a few birds around. Over here you quite often get deer munching the grass. A few years ago there was a big landslide. You can still see over there some of the remnants of it, but after that a lot of the road and the barriers and things were rebuilt. So here we are at the harbour. There's a swimming pool, canoe lessons, and a good sign which tells you all about the harbour. There you can see the Zulu boats that were built here. So Portknockie was founded by 3 salmon fishermen who moved from Cullen, which is the next village, in 1677, and there was a natural bay here, so they were sheltered by the northerly winds by Port Hill over here. And by the late 18th century, there were over 80 houses and 240 people living in the village. And it grew up to, as I say, 100 boats. And the harbour was built by public subscription, started in 1887 and finished in, I think, 1890. It was opened by the landowner around here called the Countess of Seafield. So even in the 1930s there was upwards of 50 boats, steam drifters, operating from the port of Portknockie, catching herring. And then there was a famous herring trail that went all the way down the east coast of Scotland and into England, down to Norfolk and Suffolk. And the fisherwomen from the villages used to follow the fishing fleet to go and gut salt and barrel the herring ready for sale. The tide's really low today at the moment. So you see there's a little pool of water. This is the inner harbour. These boats were probably out early this morning catching the crab and lobster. You can see still the big bollards at intervals. There's another one over there where vessels were tied up. And over there's the old bothy. The bothy behind me was used basically as basic accommodation for fisher folk and fishermen who came from other villages who stayed overnight. It's been disused for many years and is now used as a mechanic's garage mostly. So here you can see the inner harbour and the outer harbour. Some of the lobster and crab pots. And then the houses overlooking the harbour. Now the tide's just coming in. You can see still a beautiful colour, the water. They're not doing it at the moment, but the wall there, the end of the harbour wall, is a summertime activity for kids to jump off into the channel. You can hear them squealing with delight every day during the summer. Still have to wear a wetsuit because it's too cold. We'll walk through the arch in the harbour wall to the outer breakwater. You can see over there towards behind that promontory is about another mile after that is Portknockie. This is known as the Hythe, I think, this area. And you can see one of the fishing boats just coming back. There's quite a breeze this morning. So we spent many hours on this breakwater fishing for mackerel with limited amounts of success. But we usually catch something, but sometimes you either catch a lot or you spend hours and catch one. And somewhere down there in the murky depths are at least 3 deck chairs that were lost in the great deck chair disaster of 2018. There you get a great view of the surrounding area. Beautiful clouds today. We'll wait and see whether this boat comes in. BCK is a Bucky registration, bobbing around a bit. He'll come through past the harbour. So he'll soon be in the lee of the sea, of the wind. There he is. Going through the entrance, taking the swell of the incoming tide. If you can see up on the hill, port here. It's actually an old Second World War pillbox. The defence against attack from the sea. God knows what good they would have done, but it was there probably for observation of vessels coming into the firth. This is a widgeon with its young. So they come here, breed in the summertime. So he's back home, moored up, ready to go again tomorrow. I tend to go out sort of 2 or 3 times at least a week and see what's in the pots, lay new pots. So I'm going to walk out of the port past the coffee and look at some of the coves on my way up to Bow Fiddle.